Hi, I'm Albert Riley Groutman, Executive Director of CROSO. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Coffee with CROSO. Today I'll be speaking with Richard Mutambuli, our Program Coordinator. He's joining us from his office in Mbale, Uganda. Today we're going to be talking about the CROSO Scholarship and our scholar support programs, the impact that CROSO has on our local communities in Mbale, Lira, and Jinja, and also what it means for CROSO to have the network of alumni, staff, scholars, and mentors throughout Uganda. Thanks for joining us. If you can just start, Richard, by giving your name and your role at CROSO.
I'm Richard Mutambuli, and I'm the Program Coordinator for CROSO. I joined CROSO in 2022, September, as the Program Coordinator based in Mbale in Eastern Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And could you briefly describe your educational background and a little bit about yourself in biography, how you came to know CROSO and to work with the students of CRO and CROSO?
Yeah, I have a background in education, and that's how I came to work with the students in CROSO. And CROSO happens to partner with a national NGO here in Uganda called CRO. It's the partner organization with CROSO. CRO identifies the young people, the children who are mainly on the street, and it takes them through a rehabilitation program, a program of integrating them with their communities, but also empowering them with education and skills. And I happen to have worked with CRO for around 15 years before joining CROSO. And this gave me more understanding on the work of CROSO, especially when they started partnering with CRO. I was still working with CRO.
Thank you. So, what does it mean for our scholars to attend college or receive post-secondary education in Uganda? What do you think it means for them personally, but then also for their community and what they do after school or after they complete their program?
Well, receiving the support in education plays a big role for the scholars, especially when we look at their background, where they are coming from, and when they get the support of a scholarship to enhance their skills. That is already one of the big difference. And when you look at our context here, our community, our location and opportunities available, being empowered with post-secondary education plays a key role in the lives of these young people. When they get empowered, they can come back to their communities and offer services to the community, but also to their immediate family. For example, with this education, this young person might be one of the most educated person in the family and the surrounding community. So with this empowerment, they come back and offer a lot of valuable services to their communities. But also it contributes to skills enhancement for these young people and expands their opportunities for connections and expanding their networks with other young people and other professionals in similar fields. But also, most importantly, they contribute to the transformation of our communities. For example, in the field of health, where we have a shortage of health professionals, CROSO providing support to the scholars contributes significantly to the workforce in the health sector when these young people come back with the skills and go and serve in these places in the health field, it makes a major impact to our community and society. And one of the key issues also is that most of our scholars go back to the areas they come from and serve in these areas. And these happen also to be one of most of the areas that are underserved with services. And they are coming back and serving in these communities plays a key role to the provision of services in these areas.
Thank you. If you could talk a little bit more about CRO and Mbale and what the city is like for the students. How are they navigating the city? What is their day-to-day life like when they're in primary school? And then if you could talk a little bit about what the post-secondary institutions are that the CROSO scholars choose.
Mbale is in the eastern part of Uganda. It is mainly a mountainous area on the eastern part. And it is a city that has very many other networks. It connects to other towns, especially in the north, towards the north and the east. And it's also one of the highways towards South Sudan. So it is an area that is having quite a number of activities that are going on, though it is developing. It is in the process of developing. And one of the reasons that CRO was established in Mbale was when these young people in the past came from various places for a number of reasons. The earliest factors was during the time of the civil war in northern Uganda, and Mbale happened to have been one of the places that hosted most of these people that were being affected by these conflicts, and also having a network connecting to other towns. Most of these young people having these experiences, challenges, find their way in this city. And therefore, when they have been, when they are identified and enrolled into the program and supported with life skills education, especially to enable them overcome what they have gone through, but also to prepare them for a future life. They start off with the education. Most of them join primary. There are quite a number of primary schools that they're enrolled in. And when they have reached post-secondary level, CROSO provides this support. But also the young people who may not be able to make it for post-secondary have an option to join skills training program where they can get skills by local artisans, for example, carpentry, welding, tailoring, and probably hairdressing. And these skills can help them with their livelihood. So this is kind of the life around Mbale.
Thank you, Richard. That's very informative and helps give us context about CROSO, the scholars and the people of Mbale and the region. When I've been engaging with scholars, they talk about the impact of CROSO on their lives, but also on their community. Many of the students talk about the different activities they're involved with on campus. Could you think about maybe one or two examples that you can share about CROSO scholars engaging on campus, and then maybe some of the things they do when they go back to their villages?
Right, on campus, CROSO has an arrangement where we can go and visit the scholars, and this is one of the key areas that CROSO focuses on, visiting the scholars while they are on campus. And it is indeed important that, in addition to supporting them with support attending these institutions, we follow them up in these institutions. And this gives us the opportunity to interact with the administrators of these institutions where the scholars are studying, but also to get to know and establish more about their interaction and engagement while they are in these institutions and how they are navigating through while studying in these institutions. One of the examples that I can cite for student engagement while on campus is participation in games and sports. We have some of our scholars very active in their institutions and in sports and the other co-curricular activities in their universities like football, music, dance and drama, and other sports like volleyball. And this is good for them, enhancing their talents. They have contributed to the sports section of these institutions, but also as individuals, it has enabled them to enhance their talents and even participate at a higher level in these games, representing their universities at higher levels. But also when they get these skills, they can also come back and participate in their local sports clubs and utilize these skills academically. And the second example I can cite is leadership skills and community engagement. Our scholars have been very instrumental in the various activities around their campuses, and you get to find when you conduct the visits to these institutions, find most of them participate in community initiatives like health promotion around their communities, where they join other student bodies and then they sensitize communities on health, but they are also participating in leadership activities in their schools. Quite a number of our scholars are also leaders in their various institutions. And this points to the empowerment that they have received. You know, when they receive this empowerment, it enhances their self-esteem and propels them to be more active and participate while in their institutions. But also when they come back to their communities, you find that they are engaged in the activities taking place in the communities, like participating in advocacy and lobbying for rights of vulnerable children in their communities and volunteering in some of these agencies that are promoting these rights of the minority people and underserved people. So it is a key thing for our scholars and they are really quite active in this area.
Thank you, Richard, for that detailed explanation. You mentioned a couple of topics that I've heard a bit about in the national news of Uganda, and that is regarding career development and professional advising. It seems like CROSO is able to provide these in a unique way to meet the students' needs. How many of these services are provided by the institution, or is this something that CROSO does a little bit differently to meet the need of the students?
Overall, I can say CROSO has a unique approach to the scholarship support that they are providing to the scholars here in Uganda. And when you look at our checklist of the services that CROSO is providing to the scholars vis-a-vis what is available probably by the government and other institutions, we have done a tremendous job. And this has empowered our scholars to have not only access to post-secondary education, but access to quality post-secondary education. For example, the scholars are supported with laptops that they can use, and not every student in these universities are having this opportunity. Most of the students are going to study, but without this equipment, and yet it is very important for their courses. And then there's provision for internet connections This is available in some of the institutions, but the connectivity is very poor, and quite a number of times students may be off campus. Probably they're in the field or where they are staying, and these places are not having internet services. Therefore, having this support of internet full-time with the scholars enables them to access educational resources that are online and do their research work and complete their assignments, even when they are not on campus. And even when they are at campus and the internet is not, the connection is poor, the scholars have the opportunity to ensure to have this good connectivity and continue with their studies. And also we have another support that we extend to the scholars. We hold a scholarship workshop, and this is key for our scholars. When we put them together once or twice in a year, they come back together and share knowledge and experiences, and they learn from each other. And this is a key service that is not available in almost all our universities. The universities are more looking at the academic part, having the students complete their courses, doing the exams and courseworks and passing. But we have gone a step further to engage our students, putting them together where they share experiences with fellow students and scholars, and also learn from each other. And during these gatherings, we have also invited resourceful persons to communicate with them and share about career development, how they should prepare for their life after studies. And these services have gone a long way to empower our scholars. And it's also a moment where we bring together some of the graduates that have gone through the CROSO scholarship, coming and inspiring the current scholars. They come and share with them how they navigated through their studies and also how they have managed life after school. And this provides a lot of learning experiences for the continuing scholars when they get to learn and share from the graduates. Thank you.
Thank you again, Richard. I feel that you're really sharing some good information, and your insight and experience is really coming through in your answers. I just feel always when I have a chance to learn from your experience, it's just very positive for me. And I know when I'm sharing this with other people, we can spread the impact of CROSO to help us move forward. The last question I wanted to ask is, in light of CROSO's growth and recruitment from Mbale to also include the CRO sites in Jinja and Lira, what other potential growth or partnerships do you see for CROSO in the near future?
Thank you. CROSO is in the process of establishing itself, and this is a key stepping stone for CROSO here in Uganda. And looking at the expansion to other places, it has, first of all, given an opportunity for the scholars in these regions to have this access to the CROSO support. Initially, CROSO was mainly operating in Mbale, and most of the scholars were coming from Mbale. But with this expansion, scholars from these other regions have gotten now the opportunity to receive this support from CROSO, and this is very key. And in our expansion and the strategies that we are employing, it will involve working with other partners in the similar field, and this will expand our network and partnerships, giving an opportunity to more young people who are vulnerable and need support to be supported by CROSO. But also it will be an opportunity for CROSO to share our experiences and also skills, but also learn from other partners in the similar field and explore other available services that we can add on to what we are currently providing to enrich our program here in Uganda. But it's also one of the areas that when we expand, it is working together with the government as well, because this addresses the national development goals of the government. And when we are in many areas, we are in a strong partnership with the government, and our visibility nationwide becomes more enhanced when we have expanded. So this is really important for us, and we do hope it's going to be something important and to enhance the provision of our services in Uganda.
I really appreciate you giving that context, and I think it's really important to
Thank you.
share because CROSO being a educational nonprofit organization, we really have a local impact, but it's great to see how education fits into the bigger picture of, what we call development, but it's really just doing the best to support the young people who are going to be the future in these different roles in different industries, as you said, education, healthcare, and business. The last question I have is not one that I sent ahead of time, but it was on my mind because you've worked with so many of our scholars and alumni. And you briefly mentioned that CROSO is unique because of the programs. And I want to talk a little bit more about the people. We've gotten a chance to hear your insight in this conversation. But as I have taken over from Molly, the founder, and now I am the executive director, we've seen that John Bosco Ocalis and Carolyn Areto, two former scholars, are now members of the CROSO board. We also have quite a few Ugandan advisory members and alumni who have been committed to the program and now are even more interested in sharing their experience and their networks with the scholars. Could you talk a little bit more about that? I know you mentioned that in the scholar workshops, this is one of the positive effects of having a network. But could you talk a little bit about the impact of having John and Carol on the board now as former scholars?
Thank you. Good question. We have provided this platform for our graduates to come and be part of the work of CROSO, because we do have that belief that they will do this with passion, having been beneficiaries of the program and coming back to serve, they will serve with passion. And we are happy to have John Bosco and Carol serving on the board of CROSO. And actually, John Bosco is currently heading the board here in Uganda, and this is really important. He is one of the former beneficiaries of the program. And one of the advantages of involving the graduates is they have the experience and they have gone through this process, and they do understand the context of the scholars that are being supported by CROSO. And when they are even sharing and giving their ideas, they are sharing from a knowledge point of view. They are sharing something they have gone through themselves, and this is very important for our work here. And also it inspires the other scholars when they look at these people coming and in leadership positions at CROSO. It is like a motivation for them. They are serving as role models for these young people. But also when we engage them and then they are sharing their experiences with even the local authorities, it kind of expands our work, our visibility with the authorities and the government. When we are having our work and then we are having these young people as part of the board and the team that is working with CROSO, it really gives the real meaning and the impact of our work, not only to the community where these young people are serving, but also to the authorities when we are moving out in the meetings and we are with Carol and Bosco, and these are our board members. They really kind of get to understand more deeply what CROSO has done for the young people, but the impact it has created in our community. That's not only empowering people with education, but producing leaders and giving them an opportunity to serve, and they are contributing positively and significantly to the work of CROSO.